There it
Yeah, baby. We're
Yeah.
ready. We're ready to rock and roll today here. Master Phil in your corner with my man, Dougie Fresh Friedman,
Yes, sir.
here live at the Undefeated Media Studios.
Yeah,
well,
buddy.
today we have a very special guest. I just want to tell you something about Jack Kerwick, or Dr. Jack. Jack's got his doctorate degree in philosophy from Temple University. He is currently a philosophy professor, instructor, down at Rowan University in New Jersey. Now, I don't know how many people know much about colleges. They tend to be a tad left-leaning, and Jack is definitely not in the majority here. So he's got some great views, written tons and tons of articles about conservative movement, about roles, male and female, tons of stuff that's very thought-provoking. And I met Jack. He trains with a group of guys that train at the studio, and Jack's a martial artist, a workout fanatic, and we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff too, and how it affects your life, your outlooks, and so forth. And I met him here with the guys from the Warriors Way, a bunch of former Marines, and they have a self-defense methodology, and Jack's part of the group. And he asked me when we're going to start training again. We're going to talk about that too, because we're doing this whole lockdown thing right now. But without any further ado, let's welcome Jack Kerwick to Master Phil in your corner. Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Thanks for having me, man.
Great to see you, man. Great to see you.
Welcome.
I was just telling everybody about your background and how your job has you in the bastion of I say liberalism and being a college professor. I too am an adjunct professor, and I tend not to be as far left as many of my compatriots, as I'm sure you experience the same thing. And I prepped them about how you've had many articles on the conservative viewpoint. And of course, you have a martial arts background. You train with the guys at Warriors Way, and you're a workout fanatic, as you can tell by your build, so forth. And hey, we just want to get you talking about how this stuff kind of affects people's psyche, and also potential training regimens and desire to train. Because I don't know what spurred you into training, but you know what? I wanted to be a man.
Right.
I wanted to be able to fight. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be tough. I wanted to be smart. I wanted to be able to defend my wife, my family, my kids. I wanted to take care of my mom. I wanted to look after my dad, whatever it was. I wanted to be that person.
That's right.
And that's what started me. I don't think those are the same philosophies that are happening right now, but what started you going in that same direction, and where do you see things happening now?
Yeah, no, that's I couldn't agree more. I'll be 48 on June 10th. So as long as you're open, and then, man, that'd be a good time for me to come up, celebrate my birthday.
Absolutely, man. Sounds great.
But when I was probably about 6 years old or so, I might have been getting picked on, and my father went out and bought like this 30-pound weight set. This is back like late
weights.
Yeah. And those sand weights, right?
Yep.
The sand weights. And I think the barbell was probably like 3 feet. And my father had weights in the basement and stuff, so I was always exposed to that. And it wasn't but then for years I wanted to get into martial arts training, and it really wasn't until like the last couple of years that I started to. Mm-hmm. But what motivated me is precisely what motivated you. Ultimately, that's really what it comes down to for me. I just want to make sure that I have what I need to have, to crush the bad guys. And it's not, and it's not even like, a tough guy kind of, it's so much more than that. I'm not interested in fighting people. I don't want to get in any bar brawls. I try to stay out of the bars altogether, right? I'm not interested in fighting. It's just that, but if push comes to shove and it's either me or innocence, I mean, it could be your wife who I don't even know who's being jeopardized. I want to make sure I'm not going to call the cleanup crew, the police. I want to make sure I have what it takes to take care of that at that time. And again, it's all reserved for bad guys.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, the only problem with relying on the police is this, and look, I love the police. I'm a huge supporter, but the problem is, the police are there in minutes when seconds count.
That's right. That's why I call them the cleanup crew, because by the time they get there, it's done.
It's done.
It's done. And so, but the whole idea, the whole thing you're talking about.
Hey, Jared.
I just saw this pop up. The whole manhood thing. Yeah, I mean, that's how I see it too.
Yeah. That's an important point here. And this thing gets cool. So that's the whole point. And see, people mix this up because I saw those Gillette razor commercials a while ago with the toxic masculinity. I mean, being that, I don't know what they were trying to prove. I mean, I'll never use those razors again.
Right. And
well, of course, I'm partial to Schick because I was in Schick commercials for years.
Yeah, you were mentioning that, right?
I'm partial to them anyway, so it wasn't too hard for me to not use Gillette. But the point is, they're sitting there telling people that they how to act. I was taught how to act. I was taught if I did something wrong, if I bullied somebody, my dad would stick his size 10.5 up my behind.
Right.
And if I was bullied, I had to defend myself.
Right.
They would just say, hey, I had a situation. I read about it in one of my books. This guy was like twice my size. And he was bullying the crap out of me. And my dad said, well, you're going to have to make a stand. And one day I did. And, he never bullied me again.
You took care of it. Right.
I took care of it. And, I did what I had to do.
Right.
And I don't think that's a message that's being put out there right now.
No, you could, I'm just trying to tie what we're talking in now to what's going on around us at this moment.
Yeah.
I call it the great interment of 2020. But what I see happening right now, a lot of people refer to this as the, COVID pandemic or the coronavirus crisis. No, it's not a crisis brought on by any virus. It's the mass panic. It's the reaction on the part of big government, big media to this new strain of a coronavirus. That's the big crisis. Again, I'm calling it an interment because think about it. Shelter in place is in effect nothing more or less than the interment of the American citizens. They've transformed our homes, our states, our towns into essentially an internment camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yet you see they were able to do this so easily because so many people have this irrational fear. And I'm saying, Phil, I've been all over this shit since March. I mean, sorry the language. I've been all over this. I mean, I've already put out over a dozen articles just on the interment, just on the reaction to this. And I'm telling you, I've delved into the numbers. I mean, you're talking probably 99.9 to 99.6% of people who get this recover from it.
Yes.
I mean, this is not the bubonic plague. No. It's not even the Spanish flu of 1918. I mean, your odds of getting actually sick from a flu are greater than they are of getting actually sick from this thing. Most people are not symptomatic.
Look, I was around it, and I know that I was around people because several people in my class had it. Their families had it. They had it. One of the guys who works for me, he was in LA and he came back, and he's got the antibodies. Yet I have nothing.
You got nothing.
I have nothing. And here's the thing that I want to put forth. A couple things though, because you're talking about the internment, and it kind of brought something to my mind because what we were told to the shelter in place to flatten the curve, right?
Right.
I just want to show you something. Here is This is the curve. This is from Bergen County. Okay.
Right.
And the down here is May 11th, and there's April 14th. Look at the curve.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Now here's New Jersey. Okay, so and here's the rest of the state. There's the rest of the state.
Look at that.
Okay? So now this whole process, once we flatten the curve, we're supposed to release things. That has not happened.
That's
okay?
right.
That's one thing. Now the other thing that I'd like to bring up too is, and this is related to fitness and health and stuff I've been screaming about all the time. Look at the people that have been adversely affected by this virus.
Right.
What they're overweight.
All comorbidities.
All comorbidities, right? And all the comorbidities have to do with obesity.
Right.
Have to do with poor lifestyle, sedentary living. Look, only 20% of the people in this country meet the minimum recommended amount of exercise. We have 70%, 70% are overweight, and
wow.
Yeah, and 42% are obese. So this is what we're dealing with.
Wow.
No wonder why the diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, other CHDs, and those are the comorbidities that are killing people. In addition to that, I'd like to see this because I haven't seen any stats on this. What about the young people that have passed from this or suffered from it? Were they smokers? Were they vaping? Were they smoking pot? Because those are the raves that everybody wants. Oh, smoking pot's fine.
That's right.
It compromises your lung capacity. And what is this coronavirus? It attacks the lungs.
That's right.
How come none of this is being brought to the forefront?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, recently, Deborah Birx, who's up there with Anthony Fauci, right? Yeah. She had an argument with Robert Redfield, who's the director of the CDC. Mm-hmm. And she said that she said this now. She can't believe anything coming out of the CDC. She thinks their numbers are inflated by at least 25%. That argument happened just like last week. So remember, Birx and Fauci are the two people who have been pushing this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? This whole assessment was originally based on a model out of the Imperial College of London, right? Yeah. All right, promoted by this Neil Ferguson, who's now disgraced. That he was calling for 2.2 million Americans to die from this. The response that his defenders had was, well, he said if there were no mitigation policies. No, but what they're not telling is that even after mitigation, he thought it was still going to be 1.1 million Americans that die from this. This guy has been epically wrong in the past, but that's the model on the basis of which Trump came out and declared a national state of emergency. Those numbers were presented to Trump by Fauci and Birx, and nothing even remotely close came materialized.
No, what does Birx have to say about this now?
I don't know. She's been kind of quiet. I haven't heard much.
Yeah, I haven't heard much.
Because Trump is shifting the focus away from the numbers and more toward reopening the economy or, talking about a vaccine, stuff like this. Wow. But it's just outrageous. I mean, this whole, but it gets back to what you're saying about, being manly, meaning, being not so fearful.
Right.
And when you see people driving around in their cars
with a mask,
I mean,
okay. You have first of all, you're just petrified. You're a sheeple, right. And you know what? You have no concept of science and how this thing works. None whatsoever. And you remember the movie They Live with Roddy Piper?
Yeah, I didn't see it though.
Oh, you got to watch it because that's what's happening now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Because the media and the politicians are all like, they have everyone tricked. And we see them as like these good looking people. Right. But in reality, they're like skeleton people, aliens that took over and they're controlling the masses. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was calling them Corona walkers. You ever see The Walking Dead? Like all these zombies are walking. So these people who you see driving around with masks,
Oh yeah.
walking outside, never taking their, I call them Corona walkers. Because look, I'm telling you, something is happening to their psyches.
Oh
Because
yeah. Here's something I also want to bring. Doug, see if you can find that a clip from They Live, okay, with Roddy Piper, and we'll put it up.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah, here's. Let me tell you.
What kind of clip am I looking for?
I'm sorry. It's a clip
Just
from
they're just Walking Dead or Aliens or something.
Well, put. You'll see aliens. Just look up. Just look at a YouTube clip up for They Live with Roddy Piper. Okay. So here, you know something. There's only one thing that's more difficult than brainwashing someone. It's convincing them that they've been brainwashed. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
I see that happening. Look, I see people who, they're good meaning people.
Right. That's right.
And all of a sudden they're like morphed into, I'll tell you what, straight up, I go out every day. I'm out every single day.
Me too.
I go to my studio. Honestly, I'm not afraid of this at all.
Oh, I've never been afraid of this.
No.
I was looking. Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're fighting the alien guy.
Was that from the 80s, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
That'd be.
And look, they snagged her.
Right. Yeah.
Do you hear anything? I can get your audio too. Here.
Yeah, get the audio. Yeah. Probably gonna use. Poor Roddy, rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Coming.
Here's the alien guys. Get him, Roddy.
Yeah, no, I never saw this one.
Oh, you gotta watch. It's she's one of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these kinds of stories, though,
they
come to mind seeing what's going on today.
I know. This is what's happening. There's mind control. People are under mind control now. They're being brainwashed that all these guys are right. This is it.
Yeah.
And we have to. Oh yeah, look down the corner here. See their faces down the corner. In this They Live, see the faces. Pandemic. Gosh, other people are referencing it too. Rowdy goes down. That's good. To give you the idea. So
this is supposed to be where the aliens come out. I don't know where the aliens are.
Well, there's a clip of them down the corner there. You see that? Yeah, there they are. There's the aliens. That's CNN. But he's got special glasses, and he can see. He can see who the aliens are. And then what he does, he shoots down the thing that's brainwashing people, and then everyone can see who the aliens are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that this is. I've never been afraid of this virus, but I am afraid, though. I have to admit, I'm afraid of what this is doing to the country.
That's what I'm afraid of.
And it's not just the fact that over 100,000 small businesses have closed their doors permanently.
Yep.
It's not that. It's not that thousands of more are hurting financially. Yep. Tens of millions are unemployed. What's really troubling me is the long-term psychological effect that this is going to have on people.
And what about children?
And children, absolutely.
What about kids, man?
You're going to have kids wear masks to school?
I mean,
it's promoting so much fear. I tell you, I haven't written this article yet, but I've made allusions to it. The mask is the biggest symbol of alienation, of fear, of distrust. The last thing we want to be doing is promoting people wearing masks, right? And these masks don't do a thing. they're not effective in preventing people from getting sick. I mean, Fauci himself and the Surgeon General, they both insisted on that point back at the end of February, beginning of March, when people were already starting to panic and they were bum rushing masks, right? Said, listen, this is not effective. It's not, it may make you feel safe. You're not safe. Now they're whistling an entirely different tune. Question is, why?
Why?
Right?
They see it's working? I don't know. Working as far as like controlling people and getting them to do it? I don't know.
The left has always ached, and their terms. Barack Obama said this 5 days before he was elected in 2008. The left has always ached to fundamentally transform America.
Oh yeah.
My concern is that some of their oldest dreams are finally starting to materialize a little bit right now. Look, I mean, look, they have, and like Colonel Al, who trains. He and I were on the phone last night. He has 28 years in the United States Marine Corps, Lieutenant Colonel. He said, fear is one of the greatest, ways by which to
control people,
shape people, right? Control.
Look at the mafia.
That's right.
How the mafia do it? Through fear.
Through fear.
Fear is a great way to control people. And the thing is that, honestly, we're soft as a nation.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the fact. I mean, I shocked you with those facts, and actually, I used that as part of my speech for when I graduated from AMU, from American Military University. I was the speaker, and that was in my speech.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's here's the problem. People don't want to take control of their own destiny.
Right.
Okay. Because I'll tell you what, if you wash your hands, you're at a healthy weight, you eat properly, and you exercise, chances are you pulling yourself out of the at-risk population.
Right.
Now, are there some people that are infirm and so forth and are susceptible? Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Sequester them.
Right. That's exactly. Yeah. There's this one, there's actually been several world-renowned medical specialists whose perspectives do not fit the conventional media narrative. So their voices have been suppressed, but they're all over the place. I mean, I've quoted several of them in some of my articles on this.
Yeah.
And one guy, forget his name now, but he did say no schools, particularly like elementary schools, no schools ever should have been closed because kids are not a vulnerable population when it comes to this. He said the idea is to even if the kids do contract it, let them contract it. They develop the antibodies.
Yep.
They don't see their grandparents for maybe 3-4 weeks. By then they're immune. They don't get it anymore. They don't give it to anyone else. And life goes on. But that's not the approach that's been taken.
Well, now they're trying to put fear into the kids because a couple kids had that Kawasaki's disease, and they're trying to link it to COVID. And okay, so I think 3 kids died from it. God, that's terrible. You never want that to ever happen.
Right.
But what is the normal rate of the death in the Kawasaki disease?
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah, Doug, you got something on that?
So So like, I just want to throw something in the ring now too. Just like we were talking about before, like, I don't know how true this is, but apparently hospitals are getting extra money if someone dies.
It's very true. It's very true.
So,
there's documents. It's up to 3 times what the cost was.
So when someone dies from a heart attack, they're marking it as COVID. So like, there's that. That's one thing I want to throw in the ring. Another thing is like, obviously this is not as crazy as we first thought it was, right? So we're taking precautions and whatever. Once we get fed up with this, what happens when something worse comes along and we think this is all cried wolf kind of thing, where it's like, oh, they said that about coronavirus, that was nothing. That's
the other thing.
Now something worse comes along, and
that's right, Ned. Doug's absolutely right. COVID. Let's see. Hospitals are getting $13,000 per patient if they're diagnosed as COVID, and if they're put on a ventilator, they're getting $39,000.
2 times as much.
Yep. If they're on a ventilator.
Yeah.
So now hospitals, a lot of which are losing money because in order to flatten the curve, right? They prepared for this onslaught that never materialized.
Nope.
And so now all these other patients who needed that medical
They're not
attention,
coming in, they're afraid.
they're not coming in, they're afraid, or their appointments have been canceled, right? So now these hospitals are looking to make up the money. And so they're being instructed, declare that it's a COVID death. So these numbers, the official numbers, they are way, I mean, even though they're not remotely as high as they originally predicted, they're inflated. They're not real.
No, they're not real.
They're fake numbers.
And then if we talk like this, we're considered heretics,
conspiracy
conspiracy theorists. And it's like, what? We're just discussing facts.
That's right.
The problem is we're not getting the truth from any outlet.
Right. We're in they live right now.
Right.
Exactly. And the thing is too, like, I'm totally with you. It doesn't seem that it's like that serious of a disease. God, the people are dying from it and it's a terrible thing, but this is I believe this is kind of like a weapon from China that just got out. And what happens when that next thing comes out, and we're gonna brush it off because of what happened here.
Well, you see, I know a lot of people on the right too, especially they're making a big thing about China. See, I don't take that tack, and I'll tell you why I don't. Because, okay, first of all, the Chinese are not ordering me to stay in my home right now, right? That's a Democrat governor of New Jersey, right? So, the Chinese aren't affecting me. But secondly, when people, especially people on the right, when they blame China for this, when they make a big issue of China, that's actually reinforcing the narrative that this thing is like some kind of plague. Yeah. It's not. It's right. It is not. I think 2 years ago, 81,000 people in America died from the flu.
Yes.
True. Yeah, and no one's
in 2018, 2019 flu season, 80 some odd thousand people died from the flu.
Right.
Okay.
See, and you never heard anything about that.
H1N1 virus, swine flu. Come on. The list goes on and on.
Right.
And, there was a flu. There was an H1N1 or some type of H1N1 virus that broke out in 1969. And,
that's right.
And what did they do? They had Woodstock. Okay.
That's right. Right. Yeah, they called it I think they called it the Asian flu back then.
The Asian flu.
60s. And that supposedly was real bad too. And I remember
I was alive then, so.
Oh yeah, you were. I was a couple years before me. Yeah. But I remember I heard some guy on the radio recently, and I forget what his position is now. But he, as a kid back then, got sick from this, and he said, "But I was in pretty bad shape. I recovered." He said, "I don't remember schools closing.
No,
that just didn't happen. It was hardly like a blip. That's just you just got to endure it and get beyond it." Yeah. But this going on now, man, this is irrational fear writ large, and it's being stoked by the fake newsies and the politicians.
And they're
the medical establishment.
Well, the other thing is if you want to get into the political realm of this, but you look at it's most of the blue states because they want federal money. They want the federal government to bail them out because they were bankrupt. New Jersey's bankrupt. New York, Illinois, California. So they're all done. So they want to be bailed out.
That's it. And
this was way before the COVID situation.
Way before the COVID situation. And they're trying to exploit the COVID situation now in order to get bailed out for all their other bad mistakes.
But now let's flip this a little bit and say, hey, what can we do about it? Well, I'll tell you, what men have to stand up. Okay. And I'll tell you what, I actually have, you asked me about when I'm going to be reopening the school. Yeah. Well, Murphy said that on the 5th, they're supposed to reopen businesses. So June 8th, we're opening up. And I'll tell you what, I put together a reopening plan, and to rid yourself of the virus, or maintain or reduce it as much as possible. I have air filtration systems put in. Okay, awesome.
I like that.
I have air filtration systems, the 2 units. Each one does 500 feet per hour.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have another one, smaller one in the lobby. Okay. I'll be still streaming the class if people feel uncomfortable. They want to watch the stream. And then I'm going to recommend that parents don't stay in here, that they watch on our Facebook live stream. And then I have UV lights. The UV lights are coming in. They kill viruses.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the ultraviolet lights, right.
Yep. And then I'm also having the UV wands, so we can wand people's hands when they come in.
Okay.
And then I also have
safe, right?
Oh yeah, it's 100% safe. Not on the face, just on the hand. And then the other thing is that we have these mats, so everyone can maintain distance. We're going to do that for a while, see how it goes, and when everyone feels comfortable, then we'll start doing our contact and everything. And I also got, I was going to use a bleach solution, but then through further reading, found that the hydrogen peroxide, the food grade hydrogen peroxide, is a better bet. So I ordered a ton of that. That's coming in 3%. I'm going to be spraying that all over the place. We're going to clean the mats between classes, clean the countertops, doorknobs, everything, like every class, and make it as a clean environment as possible. And that's what we're not wearing masks.
Good.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, if you are, when you exhale, it's this thing called carbon dioxide.
That's right.
Carbon dioxide is not something you want to breathe in.
That's right.
So when you have a mask on covering your face, you're breathing in.
I know. It's not good for you. No, right.
So you know what? I'm not doing it. And I'll go with anyone head to head on the science of that anytime, because you do not want to be labored breathing. It's one thing if you're walking around, you're shopping, that's one thing.
Right.
But when you have labored breathing out with a mask, and besides, it's going to be 85 degrees out soon. How long are people going to wear masks running around?
Yeah, that's going to stop, I think, of its own. I think that's going to lose momentum kind of naturally soon.
Well, the weather's definitely going to get people to start making moves and get more irritated about this and say, I'm going out anyway because it's beautiful outside. You can't keep me in. It's gonna definitely rattle.
Well, think about it too. I've noticed that too. Like, it's harder to convince people that the plague is sweeping through the land when it's bright and sunny.
The trees are blooming. Come on.
That's great, man. It's great to hear. I can't wait to go back up again.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm taking this another step further too. Is that I was actually talking with some other. Thank you, Scott. I was talking with some other people too. I've been working on this obviously because I want to get reopened, and been canvassing guys all over the country and talking to all my contacts. And you saw how there was a lawsuit entered against Murphy by the people on the boardwalk, and that's why they're opening up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what we were thinking about was, as martial arts and fitness school owners, was to go in and enter a lawsuit. But the thing is, I think this thing will be over by the time we get through it. But the other thing is this, that when I brought this to attention of one of my students, pretty high-powered lawyer, he goes, listen, I love what you did, because I have a 10-point plan. And because he's dealing with people in Homeland Security and some other people that certify businesses to reopen. And he goes, yeah, I talk to these guys all the time. I say, people just want to be open, but they have no plan. He goes, man, your plan's good. So he's going to roll it up to them. So maybe they're going to start enlisting me for this. And hey, if we can get this as a roadmap for people to be able to be open and get operating again, hey man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Master Phil, your plan. It sounds like they walk into like a NASA room and
I know.
they go in.
Yeah, something though, Phil. I mean, okay. I mean, listen, right now, because people are so spooked and the social distance protocols being as heavy as they are, you have to do what you have to do just to get open. But your dojo so clean as it is, man. I mean,
I don't know that.
all of these measures, I know that you're doing these measures just to make other people feel okay.
Right. Me, I'm comfortable. I know, but look, I have to, and I feel bad for a lot of these people because you know what? They're being brainwashed. They're being pounded every single day. Like I told my mother's nervous. I went, I do her shopping for her, and I'm like, Mom, you know what? Don't watch the news anymore. Just don't.
That's what I told my mom too. I told the same thing.
She's like, oh my God, I'm afraid of this, afraid of that. I'm like, there you go. You have to put things into perspective.
Right.
But nobody wants. The thing is, if you talk like we're talking, people say, "Oh, you don't care about people. You want people to die." No. It's nothing to do with that. And you know what? You're oversimplifying it, and you're dragging it to a completely emotional level. We're talking about facts. Look, if you're really worried about people dying, how come you're not worried about the 1.25 million people that die each year in car accidents? Oh, should we stop driving? Should we lower the speed limit to 30 miles an hour?
Absolutely.
No. Would that save lives? Yes. But would commerce come to a stop? Absolutely. Would people want to live in a world where we could drive 25, 30 miles an hour? I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
So nobody seems to be worried about that. Oh, they don't think like that. Well, I do, because I look at this thing called numbers and statistics, and that's what I run my life on.
And and I would even take it a slightly different angle. I just sent off an article yesterday, so it hasn't been published yet. But I call it taking the moral high ground. See, people who are still in favor of the internment, they try to frame the position in terms of life versus property or money, right? I said, no, listen, don't let them take the moral high ground. You and I and Doug, we're concerned. Now, I'm sure I'm not just speaking. I'm sure I am speaking for you too when I say this, because I'm concerned about this. I'm concerned about tens of millions of Americans who've been forced out of their jobs.
Yep.
I'm concerned with tens and tens of thousands of small business owners who invested years of blood, sweat, and tears into fulfilling their American dream, only to have it shattered by bureaucrats. I'm concerned about the people who are committing suicide. I'm concerned about elderly and sick people who are going to die of depression because their own family members can't come and visit them, right? I'm concerned about the sacrifices made by earlier generations of Americans so that we could live as free agents. I'm concerned about our inheritance as Americans being squandered, right? I'm concerned about domestic abuse rising 20%. I mean, we can go on and on. So I am concerned about life, but about not just bare existence. I'm concerned with people being able to live flourishing lives. People who are for the internment are not even giving them any consideration.
Well, and here the other thing is too, is all these people in this internment, I didn't see their incomes being stopped at all. I mean, look, how come people are giving this $1,200 are supposed to live? How come Congress isn't making $1,200 a month? Why aren't you on that? Okay. Right. Oh, no, you get paid full boat. How come none of these other people, they're getting paid full boat? And by the way, on our money.
That's right.
They're doing us a favor by giving us our money back. Hey, you know what? You're paid by us.
That's right.
So don't even get me started there.
Okay? That's right.
That's my money. I've been paying it. I've been a business owner for 32 years, and you tell me I got to close because of what your predictions are, and
close indefinitely. It's like not even like they're asking you to close for a week.
Right.
It's like close your doors and we'll get back to you on it.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, I'm still in disbelief that any of this has happened.
I know. I think I'm in a movie.
I know. I really do.
A bad one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm driving. I drove to Delaware last Friday night. A couple guys down there I hung out with. Haven't seen in a long time. So I drive over. So here I'm in Jersey. Right? I'm in South Jersey. I cross over the Delaware Memorial Bridge, get into Delaware. I get over there, and I'm seeing signs on the highway all saying, couldn't believe this, all non-Delaware residents quarantine for 14 days. So I thought, crap, right? So when I got to my destination, I Googled it, looked it up. Sure enough, on March 29th, the governor of Delaware issued this decree. But then I looked more closely. It says, well, people just passing through the state are okay. People who work there are okay. And if you're going there to visit like a relative or take care of a sick relative, you're okay. All right. So the guy I visited is sick. So I just said, listen, if I get pulled over, you're my get out of jail card. But I'm still thinking myself, my God, like I'm across state line. I'm like 45 minutes away from where I live. And I'm worried about a cop pulling me over. And plus, just for having New Jersey tags.
Yep.
I mean, driving up to I've been going up to New York almost every week. The train with Al at his place, and I haven't seen those signs going up that way. But the rest areas, man. I mean, every place in the rest areas are closed. You have to wear a mask to go. It's just depressing. It really is.
Yeah.
The internment.
Yeah, the internment. And one of the things is, what do we, what can we do to beat this depression? And one of the things that I've been doing, I'll tell you, I shifted gears at my studio, and I run 2 live classes each day. And right now we have a library of well over 100 workouts.
Oh, wow.
Facebook Live, American Eagle Live. It's called American Eagle Live. All my students have access to that. So I've been keeping my business running. I'm not where I normally are, as far as my income, but not where I really need to be and where I'm used to being. But hey, at least I'm keeping my doors open. But we're giving the students training. They're keeping in connection. So that's we've been able to do that. But that's only so good for so long, and it's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
That's right.
I mean, it's how long is that really going to go?
Exactly.
Because there's nothing like being in a classroom, nothing like being around your friends, nothing like being around your teammates and training and learning and me correcting and them doing and the interaction and the sense of community and the sense of team.
There's no substitute for that. No, there's no substitute.
No. I mean, but
same thing with me teaching right now. Everything's online. And I actually wrote my dean an email not too long ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know what kind of impact it's going to have, but listen, there's no substitute for live classroom teaching. There's just not.
Nope.
You can supply instruction. Here's the distinction I make. You can supply instruction online, but for genuine education, for real teaching, that has to take place live.
I agree with you 100%. Because I too had to teach all my classes virtually.
Right.
After March. Funny thing was that it's different because when I took my master's, my master's was 100% online.
Oh.
But master's is different though, because they're like, hey, you want to learn it, you teach yourself. Well,
Right. Oh yeah, no, I know. And a lot of schools even before are just online schools.
Yeah.
A lot of people are able to go back for their terminal degrees online.
Yes.
But it's still, you still, when you're in that brick and mortar, you got the it's just a different dynamic.
Yes, it really is. And we really, look, we should use all the tools that we have available, but just getting rid of the person-to-person contact in a classroom, there's nothing like that learning environment. Nothing.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, man, I look forward to June 8th. That's great.
Yeah.
I want to see it reopen, man.
So hey, either we're going to be at the forefront and the leaders in this, or you're going to see me on News 12 in an orange jumpsuit. But I'm going.
I'll be there with you.
Yeah.
I'll come up with the train.
I'm going to be the Elon Musk of martial arts.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. God bless him.
Hey, man.
Up.
Hey.
He's letting them know.
All respect in the world, look, and again, I must digress that, look, we understand that nobody wants anyone to die, but you know what? We want to live.
That's right.
Well, this is not living. There's a difference between living and existing.
And like you said, if there are people who don't want to come to your school when it reopens, that's a choice they can make.
It's a choice.
It's about choice.
Yeah.
And right now we haven't had any choice in the matter.
No.
That's the difference.
It's
slowly getting all of our rights taken away. They're taking down videos on YouTube and Google. Our First Amendment rights are getting taken away. Like,
yes,
crazy. This
that's
is
right.
crazy.
Yeah, there's there's doctors who've made YouTube videos saying, listen, this is overblown. We need to right, and their YouTube has taken down their videos.
Yeah, well, you ever see that guy, Dr. Shiva?
Oh yeah, I like him.
He's on point. That guy.
He is. He really is. Al likes him too. Al's the one who first told me about him.
Yeah, I've been following him for a while.
Yeah, and but he's and he really sums up the distinction within the field of the medical community. Yeah. What's happening? It says there's two competing schools. There's the Fauci school, which focuses just on drugs, vaccines and stuff, and then there's the systems approach, right? And Shiva's all about the system. You just have to, and it was when I was listening to him, I didn't realize this, that our bodies have like hundreds of trillions of viruses that are already in there.
And we're fighting them all the time.
And fighting them all the time.
I put something up a couple of weeks ago. Now, if you want to get stronger, what do? You provide resistance to your muscles, right?
Right.
So that's how you're going to improve the strength of your musculoskeletal system. Lifting weights, doing push-ups, hitting a heavy bag, whatever you're doing, you're putting stress onto the system, and it responds by what? Getting stronger. Our immune system is the same thing. Okay, so we are bombarded by viruses, by bacteria, and so forth. And the way we keep our immune system strong is by exposing ourselves so we can fight them and develop these immunities. By keeping people sequestered and locked down, okay, what happens there is that we're not exposed to stuff, right. So our immune system becomes weaker. That's number one. Number two, people also get depressed. And that lowers your immune system as well.
That weakens it.
They get anxious. That lowers the immune system as well. So here you have a whole bunch of factors that are dropping our immune systems.
Okay?
And vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of the best things you can have. You're saying locked inside, you're not getting vitamin D.
Not getting the sunlight, right?
Outside.
Yeah. No, this is something you just said. Cuomo in New York.
Yeah.
Here last week, he said he sounded shocked by this.
Yeah.
About what I'm saying? About 2/3 of people who died from this, they were living by the shelter in place. Yep. They weren't leaving their homes. Like surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, it really goes to the point you're saying. I mean, it just the whole. I mean, there's no science that's being used here. I mean, it's total propaganda. It's unreal.
Look, the things that in the beginning, I don't blame some of these. They didn't know what we were dealing with, and they said, "Hey, you know what? We want to flatten the curve." Okay, good. If this is your plan to flatten the curve, do it. But you know what? What they did, and my issue is that they keep moving the goalposts now, and they're showing that what the original models are not correct, and they're failing to address that.
I got to say, not to toot my own horn here, not to sound arrogant, I really not, but I was skeptical from the outset. So when Italy was still the epicenter of the virus, I was digging into it then.
Yep.
And I had my first article published on this like mid-March, I think it was, or maybe it was March 23rd, somewhere around there. And because I was looking at studies being done in Italy then. Showing that this thing wasn't, nearly as dangerous as the media was making it out to be. I mean, what they weren't telling you is that the average age over in Italy is like 81 years old, or close to 80 years old, right? That specific region with all these instances of COVID-19 was known for really bad pollution. The Italians do a lot of smoking.
That's the other thing. Yep. I've been to Milan. Okay. Right. All smoking.
So, I mean, so this information was available then, and here I don't have a lot of resources at my disposal. I just did some internet searches and found some sites. So I was skeptical from the outset. And again, my skepticism, I think, has been vindicated.
I didn't want to close. I didn't want to close at all.
No, I don't think so much as a lemonade stand should have closed. No,
Right.
no one should have been ordered to close.
No.
If people wanted to close, that's your business.
And then I'll tell you what I did. Like I was already making online videos for people who were nervous about coming in. I said, listen, while this is going on, so I made a bunch of videos, and then I had no choice, and I did the whole live thing, flipped that around, and flipped the script there because I couldn't be open, but I was going to stay open.
Bro, yeah,
we were filming the body bell method, and I was editing it. We were actually joking around about the coronavirus, like all right, whatever. Like we're not going to be here next week.
We're kind of mocking it out.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The other thing is that you look at this too. How people are brainwashed is that the sales from Corona beer dropped like 30 some odd percent toward that.
I tell you, and that's my favorite beer.
I love Corona.
Yeah, that's my favorite beer. That's something though, because in Corona, I think actually had to put out a statement saying we have nothing to do with that.
Poor people. They give a great product. It's a very tasty Mexican beer.
It is.
They're getting crushed.
But the very fact that they even felt the need to put out that statement.
Well, they had to.
How irrational this is.
No one was buying their beer.
No one's buying it. I tell you, man. No, but me, once this all started, just on principle, I've been going out every weekend and making sure I have Corona beer in my refrigerator.
I'm having one too. I'm cooking a steak on the grill. I'm going to have a Corona.
There you go. There you go. That's right. Just to let them have it, man.
Yep, exactly. But excellent. Wait, let me see if I can get Lulu up here. Hey, Lulu, come here, girl. I got a new pup.
Oh, really?
I rescued her last week.
Oh.
She was in a pit. She was a bait dog. This poor baby. Come on, baby. You want to get up?
Wow.
I made her train a lot today. She's exhausted. What they did to her was they filed her canines down.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. It's like she's got no canine teeth now. They're nubs, so that she couldn't fight back and hurt the fighting dogs.
Oh, wow.
And she's 45 pounds. I mean, they bred her too. I mean, so she was in the shelter for like 9 months. No one's going to take her, because of her background. She's got scars all over. She jumped through a window and everything to get away. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but I'm pretty good with pits. I've had a bunch of them, and I'm strong but loving with her, and she's already attached to my hip like this. It's
oh, really? That was just last week. You
got her Friday. Yeah.
So she was really abused.
Oh God, yeah, she was abused. I'll tell you, it's funny because I think somebody hit her with a strap too, or because when I move my belt, if I put my belt on, she shies away, and then and I took off my shirt to whip a fly that was buzzing around my house, and when I had the shirt up there, she went under my desk.
Getting back to the martial arts training and tying it into this, we talk about using what we learn to take out the bad guys. People who do that stuff are bad people.
Yes.
Who mistreat the animals like that.
If I had a license to go take care of this situation, I would, and I'd go have a steak after. Not even.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's good that she's with you then now.
Yeah. She's. You know what? I'm lucky too because she's bringing me a lot too. So we're all lucky.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hey, Lulu, come on, girl. Want to get up, girl?
I'll bring her up here. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, she was up before. Let's see. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Who's a good girl? Come here, baby. Come, my daddy. That's a good girl. Come on. Oh, yeah. Daddy made you tired today, huh? Oh, here's my Lulu. Here's Lulu.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who's my baby? Who's my good girl, huh? This is Lulu. So she's the new team mascot. Yep. There's Lulu.
Nice. Very nice. Hey, excuse me, guys. Hang on for 1 second. When you put on the fan right next to it is fan? It is on? Okay. Hang on. Let me just get back. Let me finish this up, pal. Okay. Sorry. It's a little warmer in here. Sorry about that. I got my 11-year-old son with me. I'm in my new place now. Remember I told you I was
Yeah.
I got my new place. My brother's with me half the time.
It's great. It's great.
It is. Yeah, nice dog.
Yeah, thanks. She's a sweetheart.
How old is the dog?
She's 2.5.
Oh, so she's still pretty young.
Yeah. So I'm training her up a couple times a day, walking her, taking her out in the field, running her.
Nice.
And I don't think that she ever. I don't think she ever was in grass before. I take her to the woods.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's digging it.
Jeez. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. Hey, well, great session here today, guys. And
Yeah, I'm glad to be
we'll
on.
have to do another one, and we're going to get into the things I wanted to get into. But hey, you know what? This thing, this is a free flowing discussion here on Master Phil in your corner, because whatever it is has to do with health, strength, life, protection, whatever it is, we're going to discuss it, and we're going to bring things to the forefront here at Master Phil in your corner. And we want to thank our special guest, Jack Kerwick, for coming on, and definitely check him out. Google Jack Kerwick, and you'll see he's written tons of articles. The guy's like, oh, wow. I mean, it's a machine cranking things out. And of course, Dougie Fresh, my boy, and, Undefeated Media. And guys, it was great to have you all back, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate it.
An honor.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, brother.
Take care. Nice meeting you, Doug.
You too.
Take care.